Here's a pre-calculus, AP pre-calculus question about rational expressions and secants, arcsines, whatever. So it wants an equivalent rational expression for secant of arcsine 3x. Arcsine 3x is going to be some angle, so it's the secant of some angle. How do I find that angle? Well, let me draw a right triangle. And let's say this is the angle, theta. So I need to find that angle. This will be an angle. The sine of theta is opposite over hypotenuse. Well, how do I write 3x as opposite over hypotenuse? If the opposite is 3x and the hypotenuse is 1, the sine of theta would equal 3x over 1 equals 3x. So I'm good. I have the sine of some angle is 3x. If I take the arcsine, I get the angle. So that would be the angle. I want the secant. Well, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and secant is the reciprocal, or 1 over cosine, which is hypotenuse over adjacent. So I need to find this adjacent side. I'll just call it A. How do I find that? Pythagorean theorem. 1 squared, the hypotenuse squared, equals A squared plus the other side squared, 3x squared. This is 1 equals A squared plus 9x squared. I will subtract 9x squared from both sides. 1 minus 9x squared equals A squared. Take the square roots of both sides, plus or minus the square root of 1 minus 9x squared equals A. But I'm dealing with arcsine. And remember, arcsine can only give values from negative pi over 2 to pi over 2. In other words, it's in the first and fourth quadrants. When the first and fourth quadrants, cosine is always positive. Cosine is positive in the fourth, only cosine. All of them are positive in the first. Sine and cosecant positive in the second. Tangent, cotangent positive in the third. So in the first and fourth, cosine is always positive. So I don't need to worry about negative, and then I don't write the positive sign. So A equals 1 minus 9x squared. So this is the triangle. There's theta. This is 3x, 1 square root 1 minus 9x squared. And so what's the secant? Secant is adjacent. Secant is hypotenuse. Secant of theta equals hypotenuse 1 over square root of 1 minus 9x squared. So that's going to be the answer. The secant of the angle whose sine is 3x, the angle whose sine is 3x is the arcsine of 3x. The secant of that angle is 1 over 1 minus 9x squared. Now, if it wanted to know what is the domain of this, what are valid values of x, remember, square root can't have a negative number, and for this to be a real number, and the denominator can't have a 0. So 1 minus 9x squared has to be greater than 0. It can't be negative, and it can't be 0. So I'll do 1 is greater than 9x squared. Take the square root of both sides, or divide both sides by 1. 1/9 greater than x squared. And then I'll take the square root of both sides. And when I take the square root, it's plus or minus. So in one case, that thing's going to flip. So square root of x squared is x. Square root of 1/9 is 1 over 3, but it's plus or minus 1 over 3. So it's going to be x is less than 1/3. But with the negative 1, it's going to flip. X is greater than negative 1/3. So if it asked, negative 1/3 would have to be less than x, would have to be less than 1/3. Excuse me. So that would be the domain. But this is the answer.